Hello and welcome back to another Python tutorial. In this one I'm going to be showing you how to use a text file, how to read, write, open, close, all that good stuff. Using text files quite useful in Python because you can store data in them, you can store like grid layouts if you're trying to make like a game rather than writing it in here. You can just have it laid out in a text file. You can do whatever you want with text files. And they're quite simple to get into, but then there's a lot of different formatting and different commands and functions you can use for them, but I'm going to show you simply how to get started. So first of all, you want to find your Python location, which you can find out in here by clicking on your project and clicking open folder in there. And here's where the Python file is, and that's where your text files are going to go, or you can put it in other places, but then you have to get the file location. So I just stick to the file, the location where your file is. So let's make a variable called file, and we're going to set it equal to open, which is the function for using text files. And then we put in the name of our text file. Now if we already have a text file we want to use, we put in the name here, and if we don't, we put in the name it wants to call the one it's going to make. I said that quite weirdly. So basically we're trying to make a text file that we don't already have, so the name we put in here is what our text file is going to have. So we're going to call it example.txt, comma, and then we put in the type of like how we want to use the file. So there's a few different ways. There's R, which is read, so obviously when you want to read data from the file. W, which is write, which lets you edit the file. You can add new like text to the file. There's A, which is appending, which allows you to add new stuff to the end of the file. You can't change what's already in there, but it just adds more to the end. So that's good if you don't want to change data that's already in there, just, you know, adding more and more and more. And then there's R plus mode, which I've never used, and I don't know when you'll ever use it, but it's for a read and write mode, so you can use both while working with a file. Now, I don't know when you would use that. I'm just going to stick to normal reading and writing, but on the documentation it says that's for doing both. I don't know when you want to do that necessarily, but hey, we'll see. So we want to make a new file, so we have to use W, which is for writing a file, and we'll give it some content, so file.write, and then whatever we put in here is what's going to be written to the file. So this is an example file. Now you'll see here's no file. We run the program, it ends, and boom, we've got a text file. This is an example file. There you go. So that worked, and even if I delete this code now, obviously it's already been run, so the thing won't change. It won't go anywhere. Now, once you've got a text file and you've got stuff in it that you want to use in your game, so let's say you make a Python game and you then want to save the high score. Now obviously you can very easily just go into the text file and change it, but presumably you might encrypt it or whatever you want to do. But let's just assume no one wants to tamper with it. You can save your scores in that, and then when you load up your game you can fetch the scores from that text file. And to do that you can use file.read once you've opened the file. So if we've got our file equals open, and it's called example.txt, and this time we're going to use read, which is R, so in the string thing you put R. So now we can read the file, but we can't write to it. One thing to note is after you've used a file in your code, you want to use file.close to close a file. It doesn't matter really if you're only going to open it and then the program's going to end. It doesn't really make a difference, but you should use file.close, which, as you can probably tell, it closes the file. Don't need to explain that. Now, yeah, just think, you open the file here and you close it here, so during the code in this time that file is going to be open as such. It doesn't physically open it down here or anything, but it is open. Now if we've got that text, what we can do is we can print the file.read, which reads the file and it prints the contents. So this is an example file, it's printed it to the thing. Now you can also use some other commands, so you can put in a number here, for example, to read that many characters in, so we can read 5 characters in. this, because as you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I know counting starts from 0, but that's not counting, that's like an actual value it's checking, so it's a bit different. So if I put in 0, I don't see anything, because that means it's counting in 0 characters. But anyway, what else should we do? You can, yeah, how about, so we've got this open, and what we should do is we can add more lines. So sorry, this is line 2. Here is some more text. Hello world, how are you doing? Whatever you want. You've got some lines now. So we could do for line in file, print line. So it's gonna get all the lines and print them all. Boom. That's pretty helpful. Now, one thing that's pretty useful that you'll want to do is you'll want to add stuff from a text file into an array or into a variable to be used. So obviously, like if you wanted to display the high score from a text file, you would get it from the text file and you would use it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna close this, and we've already got this open anyway. So what we could do is we can do file.append, and then no, sorry, not file.append. We need an array to append to, so we'll call it like contents equals empty array, and then we can do contents dot append. And what do we want to append to it? We want to append file, and then we can print contents. Oops. File dot read. There you go. So it's contents is the array dot append, adding to the array. File dot read, all the contents in the array. This is an example file, new line. This is a new line, new line. Now a better way to view this is when you're printing is, instead of just saying print the array, you want to print the first thing in the array, which is the text file. Now obviously if you added more text files after this, it would be contents 1, contents 2, whatever, but content 0 is the one we've got with all the new lines in as well. So that's all nice. So that's quite simple. All you need to know really. If you ever have any more complicated problems with text files, just ask, but I think I've covered everything I need to with opening a file, closing a file, changing this to be if you want to read or write to a file, how to create a file, adding the stuff from the file to an array. Because what you can do is at the start of your program, you can have maybe a function which we'll use when we have programs which refer to text files. That at the start of the program, it checks the file and adds its contents to an array. Then when you lose in the game, or when you win, or when you die, or whatever, it brings up and might say like your score, and then it'll say high score, and the high score will be from the text file. So there's lots of cool things you can do with text files, and they're very useful in Python and in general, I guess. But yeah, I hope this video helps you with text files. It's a very useful thing to know how to do. If you want more of these videos, just like the video, or ask for more tutorials on maybe more specific things. If not, I'll just keep going with the series, how it's going now. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.